This video is the worst deaths in the Jurassic Park novels. Because if you think about it, in the first Jurassic Park movie, not a lot of people actually died in the first Jurassic Park movie. You had the lawyer, Dennis Nedry, Muldoon, and Mr. Arnold. 4. Mueller. Huh? Thank you, anonymous gifter. Whomever you are, thank you. Huh? Of the 4 people that die? Oh, and then there's the... not in the movie. I'm talking about the movie. And yes, Zeba, you're right. I did forget about the crewmen at the start. 5. So 5 total people die in the movie. The book is a little bit differently. Yeah, that's Muldoon. Yeah, but the hunter. The character's name was Muldoon, I believe. Yeah, Shoota! Yeah, I believe that's Muldoon. I'm pretty sure. Well, at least I think that's how his name was pronounced. Alex, that may be covered. That's why I'm not going to say. And it's not yeah. So, all right, let's check stuff. This is going to show the worst deaths in the Jurassic Park novels. Okay, so let's check it out. Yes, the following...
Now let's be honest, the Jurassic Park movies aren't really seen as terrifying, most just view it as exciting, which is fine, but it sure would be nice to implement some horror aspects into the franchise. Well, you're in luck. The Michael Crichton novels paint the most terrifying aspects that would possibly arise from working with dinosaurs, from trying to put your intestines back inside after they were torn out, to being paralyzed and slowly eaten alive. Some of these characters we know from the movies, but their novel fates are much worse. So let's get right into it.
Okay.
First up, we have Ed Regis. This guy spends the entire first book wrong-nosing Hammond and pretending dinosaurs are just big scaly puppies apparently. Ed spends the first book bragging about how safe Jurassic Park is, hyping it up like it's the next Disneyland. But when the T-Rex breaks free, Ed's marketing skills don't exactly help him. He spends the entire novel reassuring everyone that Jurassic Park is perfectly safe, only to abandon literal children, Lex and Tim, the moment things go south.
And by the way, Lex and Tim in the book are actually reversed. Lex is the young one. Tim is the older one. I think Tim they basically revert the ages of these two are almost literally reversed in the book. So, no, Rygat, no, not the lawyer. No, Ed Regis was not the lawyer. It was not. The lawyer actually has a completely different role in the book. And hi, Herobrine. Yeah, the lawyer in the book has a completely different role. He's not just I think what they did is, no, because I think that theoretically, I guess if you look at that way, yeah, the personality, Tim was the older one, and he was more serious, and he was computer savvy. Lex was younger and annoying as fuck. So yeah, I mean, in that respect, Revan, yeah, you'd be right that their personalities were reversed as well. What I think, the lawyer, what was his name? Sorry, with a G. Geronimo, I think was his name. The lawyer Geronimo. She, I think, was a stand-in for Ed Regis. Because he was slimy, and he was like, oh, we're going to make a fortune with this place, and he was money hungry. Yeah, so I think Geronimo was basically the movie stand-in for the Ed Regis character. That's the impression that I got.
It's poetic justice that his death came from the hands, or rather jaws, of the park's own creation. After fleeing the Land Rover during the adult T-Rex attack, Regis hides in the jungle.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing. they didn't use Ford Explorers. They used Toyota Land Cruisers as their vehicles. But I'm guessing Ford made them and made Lucasfilm or Universal a deal they couldn't refuse. But yeah, it was actually Toyota Land Cruisers in the book, not Ford Explorers.
Hoping to avoid the carnage. Unfortunately for him, the park's juvenile Tyrannosaurus is nearby. After the adult Rex breakout, Lex calls out to Grant, and this gives Regis some confidence since he thinks the surrounding area is safe. As he begins to walk back down to the road and is watched by Alex, Lex and Tim, who are higher up in the jungle. They observed Ed pressed up against a tree like he's hiding from something. The forest turns quiet as the juvenile Tyrannosaur is seen from the haze. The Rex seems a bit awkward, almost like it doesn't know how to effectively get around. Once Ed thinks the coast is clear, he begins back his journey, only to be knocked down by the young dinosaur. It then waits for Ed to get back up again, then knocks him back down. Basically, it was using this man as a plaything. It did it again, but this time, it put...
Okay, ads. I will pause for the ads. Yeah, so already you can see there is a completely different... It's very... You can already tell. The books were very different from the movie. I don't know if they're even going, well, it says the novels plural. He might go into Lost World, and if he does, I'll let it cook. If he doesn't say anything about Lost World, I will tell you about Lost World at the end of the movie. But yeah, so the baby T-Rexes are introduced in the novel. Yeah, and additionally, I think I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I've read the Jurassic Park book, but I think there was something about how T-Rexes don't actually hunt by vision. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. Like that whole thing about T-Rexes, they hunt, their vision's based on movement. Yeah, it's like that. Like they didn't actually say that in the books. That was something I think they created specifically for the movie, as like a visual thing. But yeah, okay, we're back from this. Okay.
Pushed his head down and tore into Regis. Unlike its fully grown counterpart, this young Rex isn't experienced in killing yet. So the process is drawn out and horrifyingly clumsy. The juvenile Rex catches Regis and clamps his jaws around his torso. It doesn't kill him outright though. Instead, it starts toying with him, chewing on his body, while Regis screams in agony. The Rex's inexperience works against Regis here. Its bites are shallow at first, tearing through the muscle and skin rather than delivering a quick, lethal blow. Regis can feel the sharp teeth puncturing his abdomen and cracking ribs, each bite sending waves of unimaginable pain through his body. As the juvenile Rex continues its practice session, Regis screams fade into silence, as the other antagonists watch as the juvenile raises up his head, with chunks of Regis in his mouth. Talk about adding insult to injury, or in this case, adding a slow and painful death to a lifetime of bad decisions.
Here we go, Dennis. Okay. Dennis? The thing with Dennis Nedry's is you don't see it. So, some of like how, like when the way Dennis goes, they did, in the movie, they did it where he was in the Jeep where the Dilophosaurus takes him out and you can't see him. And I think that was a deliberate choice to try and maintain the PG rating. If they showed too much on-screen dinosaur eviscerationing, they'd have to crank it to R, and I'm sure Steven Spielberg wanted to try and get a PG rating so as many people could see it as they could. So I think there's a little bit of a gimme here on the Dennis Nedry one because they had to do it for the rating, with the way that they did his death.
In the movie, we know him as the big chungus that gets mauled by a shrunk Dilophosaur, but in the novel, it's a bit different.
No. Whoa, what did he say?
As the big chungus that gets mauled by a shrunk Dilophosaur, but...
Okay, his accent threw me off. I thought he called the Dilophosaurus something else. It was his accent threw me off, that's all.
In the novel, it's a bit different. Dennis Nedry is the guy who thought corporate sabotage was a walk in the park. Literally, Nedry is the IT guy who shuts down security systems to steal dinosaur embryos. Great plan, right? Except he forgot one thing. The dinosaurs really don't give a crap whether it's lights on or off. In the novel, Nedry gets lost in the rain after stashing his embryo-filled Barbasol can. Then he meets the Dilophosaurus. Now if you're picturing the cute little spitter from the movie, think again. Crichton's version is 10 feet tall with a skull built like a battering ram. When it spits venom at Nedry, the book describes it as burning like acid, blinding him instantly. He stumbles, falls, and starts screaming, which only attracts.
And I'm pretty sure, I can't 100% remember, I'm the rook. I cannot remember if not only is the novel version was actual size, it was freaking big, but I'm pretty sure the spitting venom not only caused blindness, I want to say it also induced paralysis. Because I'm trying to remember if part of the book where, Nedry gets eaten is that he doesn't, I seem to recall that he doesn't even feel when they start disemboweling him. So I believe that a paralytic is also involved in the venom. Well, in theory, Kybal, like he doesn't actually get paralyzed, and I think it's I can't remember if they actually said paralysis, but in the book like first he gets blind and then he actually succumbs to paralysis to the point that he does not even feel himself getting eaten alive.
The dinosaur even more. The Dilophosaurus isn't in a hurry though. It saunters over him and takes its time. First, it rakes its claws across Nedry's stomach, slicing him open like a Ziploc bag. His intestines spill out, described as glistening loops, because of course Crichton wants you to see the carnage. And as Nedry is frantically trying to shove his guts back in, the Dilophosaurus bites down on his head, its teeth puncture through his skull, splintering the bone like a Kinder egg. By the end, there's not much left of Nedry, except some wet chunks in the mud. Honestly, if he hadn't been such a sleazy backstabber, you might almost feel sorry for him. Almost.
So yeah, it's kind of implied in this scene right here that maybe, I know, Revan, I did his mispronunciation of Michael Crichton's last name is killing me too. But this scene, like, you can kind of infer, if you had read the books before seeing the movie, you can kind of maybe infer that that's how the Dilophosaur got him, because he did get him in the face with the venom. But again, to probably maintain the PG rating, they had it in the Jeep, and you couldn't see anything, and it's like all just implied. The book, obviously, Michael Crichton was under no auspices to make it any kind of PG rating, so Revan. Well, putting shaving cream on someone else's pie can be fun. It can be fun if you know what you're doing. Well, technically speaking, Leo, yes, Dodson. He in the movies he was kind of quasi bad guy. I regret nothing. In the yes, Albert, I'm testing a new one. In the books, in the books he's much more of a bad guy than in the movies. In the movies, he's kind of quasi a bad guy. In the movie, he hires Dennis. It's like corporate espionage. So, Dodson's not trying to let the dinosaurs get loose or anything. He's just doing corporate espionage. He is literally in the books, he is actually a bad guy. He actually will he actually gets his hands dirty in the books and tries to actually kill some of the main characters. So very different between books and movies.
Sleazy backstabber, you might almost feel sorry for him. Almost. Eddie Carr.
Eddie Carr.
Someone's apprentice who just wanted to fix gadgets and go home. In The Lost
Yes.
World, Eddie's the quiet,
Yes.
dependable type, and to be very honest, in both the movie and the novel, he's the greatest hero in my opinion. But unfortunately for him, being a nice guy in a Crichton novel is basically a death sentence.
Okay,
In the
better
movie itself,
pronunciation
this
there.
guy already had it pretty rough. After trying to help the main antagonist of the movie, he is torn apart by the Rex Spear. But this seems like
Yeah.
mercy compared to the book. In the novel, his brutal death also comes from him trying to save the antagonist. Eddie's demise comes courtesy of a pack of velociraptors, and let me tell you, these raptors don't do it quick and clean. This all occurs when Eddie and some other characters get attacked by one single raptor and head up a high hide. That single raptor drew the attention of more raptors, and these creatures began to jump profusely trying to get to the novel cast. Eventually, the raptors began to climb the high hide's welded ladder. Eddie tried to swat at the raptors with a metal pole, unaware one had already reached the top, and lunged at his neck, but it missed. But it didn't drop back down until Eddie stabbed it in its eye with a pole. Eddie then instructs the kids, Kelly and Arby, to get to the roof of the high hide.
And
while he
that's another part. There were actually 2 children in the Lost World novel, neither of whom were related to Ian Malcolm. Because of course in the movie, it's Ian Malcolm's daughter that stows away. In the book, it's actually students of Ian Malcolm that stow away in the that stow away in their camp or whatever it was called. So it's very different in that respect. And like some of the kids are smart but they're also annoying. Like I'm not so sure if Michael Crichton likes children because he tends to write children kind of annoying in his books. But yeah, there was a boy and a girl in the Lost World that they were just they were students, and not even of Ian Malcolm. It was a different. I forget which character they were students of. I don't think it was of Ian Malcolm, but yeah, they were not related to any of the main characters.
He heroically tries to swat off the rest of the raptors, but when he wasn't focusing, one had grabbed the metal pole with his jaws and basically pulls him back with so much force that he falls out of the high hide and tumbles down to the jungle floor. After poor Eddie had fallen to the floor, the raptors momentarily abandoned their pursuit of the other characters and turned their attention to the wounded hero. Still alive.
Yeah, Bobcat, Archie or Arby was like the smart one. Arby was the boy, and I think he was the smart one. He was the one that was thinking. And he like actually kind of viewed Sarah as a hero. Like he had some serious like hero worship and horniness, but that was more subtle for Sarah Harding. So he was the smart one. I forget the name of the girl that was also there. She was annoying.
Alive, the raptors begin to tear away at him from every side, from his limbs to his torso and his head. He died relatively quickly, but it was far from painless. Imagine the sheer
Kelly,
panic
thank
of
you,
having your
504.
head squeezed like a grapefruit while you're also being disemboweled. His mangled remains are then left on the jungle floor and a large bloodstain covered it. Fans describe this as one of the most sad deaths because in both the movie and the novel, the dude was just trying to help the main cast and just got annihilated in both iterations of it. The only animated scene I think that could describe Eddie's death in the novel is this one.
Oh, here we go, chat.
And
This is the one you were
lastly, at
waiting
number
for.
4, we have John Hammond. In the Jurassic Park movie, John Hammond is a kindly grandfather who just wants to create a magical dinosaur park. But in the novel, oh, he's a self-absorbed megalomaniac who cares more about profits than people. So it's no surprise that Hammond's death in the book isn't just brutal, it's poetic.
Yeah, John Hammond in the books is a fucking asshole. He is 100% straight asshole in the book. You are if you've read the book, you were cheering when he finally got it.
We spared no expense. hires one IT guy lol cheer 100.
True story. Yeah. Like, he was, the description that they just gave in the video, 100% correct. He's a he's a money-hungry megalomania. He hates fucking kids. He literally hates kids. Like, he is annoyed to no end about the fact that his daughter was dumping his grandkids off on him, and he freaking hates being around them. All he wants is to make money. That's all he cares about. So yeah, huge fucking difference. But I'm thinking, oh, why did that tick off? There it goes. Wow, that was delayed.
Cheer 100. Not just one IT guy. One IT guy he then cheated out of his pay and forced to stay on after writing Jurassic Park's code.
With Leo, I don't quite remember what the backstory was. With D, I don't quite remember the backstory with Dennis. Like, Dennis did, I don't know. Thank you, Leaf. Yeah, and you know what I think they did is they changed a lot of things from book to movie, and I think they wanted to. They may have had Richard. I think this is Richard Attenborough. They might have had him in mind for Hammond, and he was just too nice. And maybe they wrote the character to be nice, so you know, so people would like him. And actually, this was back before furries were as much of a thing as they are now. At least it's another change. Yeah, Alice, I didn't remember that either. Like, it's been a while since I read the book, so I don't remember all the details of it. I do remember how Hammond was a complete asshole and got exactly what he deserved. And you know, the reason for why they made him a nice guy in the movie, who knows? I actually reread the book maybe a year or two ago, but I can't remember all of the details. But yeah, so like, why did they make him a nice guy? I don't know, but they did. But yeah, it's polar fucking opposites between the book and the movie.
Poetic justice served on a prehistoric platter. After everything falls apart on the island, Hammond ends up wandering the jungle alone, too focused on his grand vision to fully comprehend how catastrophic things have become. Basically, while he's in the jungle, he appears to hear T-Rex sounds.
And Kilroy, thank you for the follow. Yeah, I mean, it is like a movie, so maybe they decided that, we're going to have a sweet old man instead of, an asshole, because this was a movie back in the 90s, and there, I think maybe that's like I think maybe they only wanted to have like one quote unquote bad guy in the movie, and that was Dennis Nedry. And I think maybe they didn't want to have more than one. So.
Hello, what's up? Found you on YouTube. Love the content. Keep it up. Cheer 100.
Oh, thank you, Total Turtle, and welcome to the stream. I hope you love the live version as much as you have enjoyed the YouTube stuff. So that's my suspicion, is that they only wanted to have one villain in the movie. And that's why, they made him the kindly old grandfather type in the movie instead of the megalomaniac, money-hungry asshat that he was in the book.
Things have become. Basically, while he's in the jungle, he appears to hear T-Rex sounds and basically tries to make a run for it, but slips and breaks his ankle. But in a cruel twist of fate, it wasn't actually a T-Rex, it was just some T-Rex sounds played by the kids. The book describes the break as clean but agonizing, leaving Hammond immobilized and helpless. And that's when the compies come in. At first, Hammond doesn't see them as a threat. After all, they're small, chicken-sized dinosaurs. What harm
Is
could
it?
they do? Famous last words. The
Uh-huh.
compy's venom is mildly paralytic, meaning Hammond feels everything as they start nibbling at his flesh. The book
They did,
vividly
Revan. I'm gonna get
details
to
how
that.
the little creatures swarm him, biting into his exposed skin. He screams, thrashing to no avail, as their tiny teeth tear chunks from his legs and arms. But the
Huh.
real kicker, Hammond dies not in pain but in denial, even as he's being eaten alive. His internal monologue is focused on blaming others for the park's failure. If
Mhm.
only they'd follow up on my vision. His final moments are filled with ego and regret. Ah, John Hammond. The man who thought he could control nature ends up as a lighthearted snack for the park's smallest predators. So yeah, that's just about it. This was just a short video, it wasn't meant to go into
Oh, yeah.
great detail. I could do a longer video if you guys want, you could let me know in the comments, but my hopes are that the newest Jurassic World film that's coming out can
Oh,
imitate some of
God.
the novels, but I won't get
Nope.
my hope up since after the second
No,
movie
no.
it just went downhill. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, so see ya.
Now, okay, yeah. That was good. That did a good job of highlighting the differences between the two movies. But like that's another thing. Like they actually had the compies in the original Jurassic Park book, not simply the second movie. And point of fact, the opening scene of The Lost World actually is one of the opening scenes in the first book. They took that scene from the book and used it as their opener for the Lost World movie. And in point of fact, the Lost World movie, largely speaking, does not resemble the book. Almost like very little at all. The Lost World movie and the Lost World book are completely different. Yes, Robus Burden, it is. I'm trying out a new one. So, Revan, good question. That's a good question. Correct. No, Leith, it's both. It's both. There was a newborn baby that was a victim, and there was the little girl on the beach. They did both of them, not just one or the other. They did both of them in the beginning of the first book. That was basically how they were setting up, like, okay, shit's going sideways here. And it was setting up how the dinosaurs might have been getting off the island. So they took a lot of what you saw in Jurassic Park Lost World and they put it into or sorry, let me rephrase. They took many of the scenes in the in from his first book and put that into Lost World. Lost World, the book, does not take place in San Francisco at all. There is no exporting the dinosaurs back to San Francisco or anything like that. That never happens. The entirety of the Lost World book is on Isla Sorna. That's the entirety of or San Diego, excuse me, Kai, but thank you. It entirely, it takes place entirely on Isla Sorna. And the characters different. Hell, fucking Grant, Alan Grant in the first book. Number one, he loves kids. That's number one. Number two, Grant is a big, burly guy, not the skinny rail that Sam Neill was. Alan Grant is actually big and physically in shape. So they completely changed that. Ellie Sattler was much younger than him. The two of them were not in a relationship. What else were there? What other changes were? Oh, the lawyer. The lawyer in Jurassic Park actually is a good guy. The lawyer is actually a good guy because when they were in the command center, they realized that raptors had gotten aboard one of the ships headed for the mainland. I forget how they discovered this, but they discovered this in, when they were in the command center. And the lawyer, I can't remember if his name was actually Gennaro, I think it was, actually gets on the radio and tells gets the ship to turn around by acting authoritative. It says, look, your asses better turn around or you're going to be in trouble with, and he makes up some bullshit and gets the boat to turn around with raptors that are on board that the crew didn't realize were there. So Gennaro in the book was actually a hero. So it's like massive changes with a lot of the characters in the books and the movies. With Sarah Harding in the books, you actually see her doing her sneaking downwind and examining hyena pack
I think
structure.
it would be cool if they can redo the movies to be closer to the book and be animated. Cheer 100.
AC/DC Steven, it's a pretty thought. It is. However, I will pose you a counterpoint. Do you trust Hollywood right now with anything that you want to have proper justice done to it? Exactly. It's a pretty thought. It is. And if you could get like an independent studio to do it, it could be done with justice. But I do not trust any studio in Hollywood, even animated studios, to do the original books, like redo them in animated style. Well, I just don't trust any of them right now. So, but we've got the books. We've still got the books. And you know what? Here's the thing. The movies were not bad either. The movies, particularly the first one, is a great fucking movie. The original Jurassic Park, even though it's inaccurate from the books, is still a fantastic movie. Absolutely fantastic movie. That can never be taken away from. So I still love the first movie. Would it be cool if a proper remake was done and was more accurate to the events of the book? Sure. Do I trust anyone to do it? No.
Life finds the thingy-majig. Cheer 100.
Revan, okay, I will do it for you. Life signs away. There you go. There's a Goldblum.